What is your why? Why did you even get out of the bed this morning? Why did you eat what you ate? Why did you wear what you wore? Why did you come here?
He who has a why can bear almost any how.
You got to have a purpose every single day. What's your purpose? What are you getting up for? What are you getting up to accomplish? What are you getting up to do? Human beings are driven by purpose. We're not meant to sit around and scroll the internet. That's not what we're meant to do. We're meant to go do things and accomplish things and build things and create and contribute to things outside of ourselves. And when we don't have that purpose, we can't be happy.
The difference between should and must is reasons. Reasons come first, answers come second. If you got strong enough reasons, if you got a big enough why, you can figure out how to do anything.
Why the don't you want to be in better shape? Why don't you want to be more successful? Maybe you can't find your why because you're lazy. Maybe you can't find your why because you have zero ambition. Regardless, you need to go out here and find it.
If the why is powerful, the how is easy. But if the why isn't strong, if your goals aren't powerful, if the vision isn't clear, the old prophet said, without a vision we die, without a vision we perish, without a dream we're nothing.
What's the chance of you making $1 million this year? Give me numbers. And everyone's like 0%, 0%, 0%, 1%. There's always 1%. It's like 5. And that's like the most it'll get to. And I said, okay, I'm going to give you the most extreme example, but I just want to see what happens. Okay. What's the percentage chance of you making $1 million this year legally? And if you don't, everyone that you love dies. And everyone's like 100%, 100%, 1,000, 1,000%. I said, what changed? The goal didn't change. The time frame didn't change. Why you're doing it changed. Would you wake up in the morning if everyone that you love's life depended on it and be like, yeah, well, maybe I should scroll on TikTok for a little while? No, you'd be like, I'm going to take action immediately. And so it doesn't need to be like a fear of losing everybody, but what's really behind that is like, why?
So you never wanted a regular type life? The f is that? Barbecues and ball games? Yeah.
If you want to feel like your life has meaning, if you want to go to bed and sleep with a clear conscience, if you want to wake up in the morning looking forward to the day, purpose is a more meaningful, more reliable category than happiness.
How do I know? A lot of people, when they think of the phrase, how do I know, they always want to put the what behind it. How do I know what I'm supposed to do? The question that you really should ask is, how do I know why I'm here? Because when you know your why, your what becomes more clear and more impactful.
In order to be successful, you need to have a powerful why. Why do you want to be successful? Why do you want to achieve great things? Why are you doing the shit that you're doing on a daily basis? Why? I ask people this on a daily basis and everybody gives me these generic answers. Because I want to help people. Because I want to give back. Because I want to live a happier life. Why? What's the why here? Why do you want to do these things? Why do you want to feel this way? Why do you want to help people? Why do you want to give back? What's the reason? If you don't have a powerful reason, you're never going to reach your goals because you don't have something that's pulling you towards them. You don't have something that's going to wake you up before your alarm goes off. That why is everything. My why is very simple. I want to be remembered forever and I want to inspire one person a day because I know what it's like to struggle with the drugs and the alcohol and feeling like you're alone in life, having nobody to help you. What's your why?
You know, when you're built different than everybody else and you have this desire for more and this desire for achievement and this desire to win, everybody else looks at you like you're and they'll tell you that too. You know, what the is wrong with you? Like, why can't you just relax? Why can't you just do this? Why can't, because I'm just not built that way, man.
How do I manage all this misery and suffering and futility? It's like, well, I need to figure out what I would have to do in order to make that clearly worthwhile. And so then you have your goal and then you think, well, I need to move towards that incrementally because I'm kind of useless and can only do so much and maybe not even that. But all I have to do is be a little bit better than my miserable self yesterday. And that'll propel you forward very rapidly.
If you don't have a strong enough why, if you don't know your compelling future, if you're not ready to climb through every brick wall, then go upstream and find that desire. Find it so when you're facing, oh my God, the money didn't come through, the bank fell through, the bank called their loan, or whatever you go through in different markets. If you're just thinking, I just want to make more money to get the Ferrari, you have a reason for that Ferrari. You have a reason for your success. You have a reason for your future. That's when you say, oh, this failed. Let's try again. That didn't work. Let's try again. And how many times do you have to try again? Who knows? Could be 100, right? It's the people who give up on the 60th one and don't realize that your 61st time of getting past that failure was your next level.
Well, the purpose is you. We forget that. Every day I wake up and I don't want to do some shit. I'm like, okay, man, do you want to be a today? Do you want to feel like a little, do you want to walk around all day knowing that you could, but you didn't? The main purpose in life is you. So if you wake up in the morning and you don't want to do something, you don't care enough about yourself. And that's what you need to really research is, man, why am I not doing this for myself? Because that is the number one purpose in life, is to better oneself.
What's your rabbit?
What's your rabbit?
So what you focus on each day? What you running after? What you chasing after? You may not apprehend it, but what gets you out of bed without an alarm clock? What gets you going when you don't feel like it? What makes you go get it when everybody say you can't?
If you don't know where you want to go and who you want to be, you eventually just float around and you eventually crash.
Most people walk around with no goals, no ambition. They don't know where they're going. It's like a ship with no destination. If you don't know where you're going, you'll never get there. Once you know where you want to go, then you direct your time, your energy, and your attention to the execution and the achievement of that goal. It's all about intention. But most people walk around in life thinking that life is just a big fat lottery. And it's just not that case. Those that live by the lottery of life most likely end up losing.
Make up your own mission statement. What do you want to be in life? And once you do that, now you can work with somebody to get better. You can work with yourself to get better. But until you know what you want to stand for, you will always just be sitting down. You'll never stand for anything.
The first question people go to is how? And that's the wrong question. How is absolutely the wrong question to start with, because if you've never done it before, what that produces is uncertainty. If you have uncertainty, then you don't execute at the same level. It's like people say knowledge is power. We all know that's execution is power. Knowledge is potential power. Execution beats knowledge every day of the week. So my bias is towards action. Even if it's the wrong action, you're going to learn quicker than if you do nothing. But the challenge is people are asking how, and that produces uncertainty. What you got to ask is what and why.
Most people are afraid. Most people have been through shit in their life, and you have to really tap in, and you really have to get clear on your why and your driving force, and you have to face your fear. And until you do, you're not going to get what you want in life. And that's what holds most people back.
At a burrito, I came back and I'm in the law. When I walk in, I sit down, the doctor comes up and he says, "Oh my, I can't believe these arteries are in that young body." He goes, "Let me ask you a question. I heard your wife's pregnant. I said, "Yeah, I have a son." And he says, "Do you want to be there when he graduates from high school? To be there for that day?" I said, "Yes, sir, yeah." He goes, "Your wife's pregnant. What do you have?" And I said, "A daughter." This is where you get a dad. He goes, "Would you like to walk her down the aisle on her wedding day, or are you okay that it's some other man?" I went, "What the f is on this scan?" Right? And he goes, "I want to be very clear with you. If you keep going down the road you're going, there'll be some other man with your son at graduation high school, and a stranger's walking your daughter down the aisle that's not even born yet on her wedding day." And I went, boom. And he goes, "But if you do exactly what I tell you to do, you'll be there." And so to this day, brother, there are mornings when I wake up, not every morning, I don't want to go to the gym. I go, Bella's wedding, Bella's wedding, Bella's wedding. So my standards are high because of my big old reasons. Other dudes may miss the gym that day because they're not going to miss their daughter's wedding if they don't go. But I've convinced myself I'm going to be emotional. I've convinced myself I miss my daughter's wedding. So I will get my ass out of bed at 4 o'clock in the morning and I will get to that gym because my reasons are bigger, so my standards are.
You can have what you want in 5 years. But there's 2 conditions. You have to know what it is, and you have to aim at it. Figure out what you want. Write it down. Figure out what you could do to start moving towards that. Okay. Do that with your family relationships. Do that with your friendships. Do that with your career. Do that with your education. Develop a vision. And you have to do that in dialogue with yourself, right? It's like, if I could have what I wanted, what would satisfy me? And you might think, well, I could never get that. And I could say, well, maybe not, but I'll tell you one thing, man. You can move towards it. And I know almost all the pleasure is in the moving toward. If you set up a goal that you think is, just on the edge of conceivability, then every time you move even a tiny bit towards that, you're going to think, good work, man, good work. You get a little kick from that. You get a little stronger from that.
When you know your why, your what becomes more impactful because you're walking towards or in your purpose.
It don't happen overnight. And there's going to be moments when it's really, really frustrating. And there's going to be moments when it's really, really inspiring and empowering. And if you get too high off the highs and too low off the lows, you're gonna take yourself on a ride that's very, very uncomfortable. I think it's just about being committed to the work. Appreciating it, when it's good and not stressing too bad when it's bad, just appreciating the work and staying focused on showing up every day.
Will you keep going?
In the face of
whatever.
There's no hacks, bro. It's you against you. You against you. And if you misunderstand that, you have a real problem. The problem is you. And you don't want to fix it. Just do. You're living. How do you want to live? How do you want to die? How do you want to be remembered? That's it.
Man, just go for it. Just go for it, especially while you're young, while you're still living underneath your parents' roof. That's where you have the most opportunity to make mistakes, get up, do it again. Man, go for it. Don't hesitate.
I left what was a safety net of a trade as a plumber to pursue a career in fighting when no one had done it before me. So simply they were just listening to what I was saying, and I was just telling them, trust me, I will do it. I told them by the time I am 25 years of age, I will be a self-made millionaire through this game. And my father laughed in my face at that time, and it was a friendly situation. But now I am 26 years of age and I have achieved that goal.
But if you want to see if you're a brave person, what they call the 4 o'clock in the morning courage, wait when things go completely to pieces, when things are the worst, when your very best deal falls apart and your rent is late and you're tired and you're sick and everybody is mad at you and your car doesn't work. Then it's the person that picks themselves up and says, nothing is going to stop me. The best quality in the world that you can develop is to develop the quality of being unstoppable. Develop the quality of being unstoppable. Say in yourself that no matter what life throws at me, it'll never stop me. No matter how rough it gets, I will never quit. And nothing will ever stop me.
When I was in the military, we go on these instructor-led runs. Most of the time, we knew the start and end point. So on the way back, I started seeing people getting happy and shit because the end was near. But there were some instructors that would hear the happiness and go right on past the end point. When that happened, everybody stopped talking. Heads would stop dropping. And I started taking souls. At that time, I knew what happened in their minds. They were living off the hope factor. They hoped the instructors would stop running. They hoped the water was never cold. They hoped the weather was good. I don't live off that hope shit. I wish the water was cold. I wish the instructors keep running. I wish for rain. When the ending is unknown and the distance is unknown, that's when you know who the you are.
Another R that you need, resiliency. Resiliency to bounce back if things don't go as planned. Resiliency. In other words, like taking a punch and then shaking it off and getting back up.
And the worst thing that could happen to you is you get to the end of your life and you say, damn, I wish I would have worked harder for something that I believe in. I wish I would have worked harder towards building that foundation that I really wanted to. I wish I would have worked harder to create the life that I wanted to for my family. What I want you to realize is that your life now is ultimately just you reaping all of the seeds that you've sown in the past.
Don't be mad when you're laying there in your bed and you're in the hospital and you're 70, 80, 90 years old and you're thinking, man, I feel like I didn't do something. Because you did. You didn't do it. You didn't do shit.
Hard work is the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. 20 years from now, it's probably going to come for most of us. If we're lucky, it's going to come for us. And we can either be excited about the life that we've created, or we can look back and regret and think that, man, I wish I could have done more. I wish I could have worked harder for what I believed in. I wish I would have gone for that starting that business that I really wanted to, or that foundation that I really wanted to. You could be 20 years from now thinking, man, my life could be so much better. My children's lives could be so much better. We could have gone on more family vacations. My children could be graduating absolutely debt-free. Or 20 years from now, you could be thinking, you know what? I did everything that I possibly could. I worked as hard as I possibly could, and I built the life of my dreams, and I'm excited that I did so, and I'm excited that I worked harder for it.
Risk is the bridge that spans the gap between your life now and the life you want. The bridge that goes from where you are now to where you want to be, that bridge is risk. You need to cross the bridge of risk. Risk includes being increasingly comfortable with uncertainty. There's no guarantees. That's why they call it risk.
75 years. That's how much time you get if you're lucky. 75 years, 75 winters, 75 springtimes, 75 summers, and 75 autumns. When you look at it like that, it's not a lot of time, is it? Don't waste them. Get your head out of the rat race and forget about the superficial things that preoccupy your existence and get back to what's important now. Right now, this very second. And I'm not saying drop everything and let the world come to a grinding halt. I'm saying that you can become a seeker. You can be loving more. You can be taking some chances. You can be living more. You can be spending more time with your family. You can be getting in touch with the part of you that lives instead of fears, the part of you that loves instead of hates.
Never fear a storm. Learn to dance in the rain.
Excuses sound best to the person that's making them up. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Get off the pity potty. Wake your ass up. Awaken the beast inside. It's time to take shit to another level. It's game on. It's focused. It's go season.
You can't wait for everything to be perfect to start living your life.
Maybe I'm in the wrong line of work. Maybe I should take on something less challenging.
You're born with a gift. If not that, then you get good at something along the way. And what you're good at, you don't take for granted. You don't betray it.
What if you do betray your gift?
And you betray yourself. That's a sad thing.
We're the lucky ones. We're the lucky ones. We're the ones who get to die. Because you only get to die for having lived. Most people who could ever exist will never even be born. At the end of the day, you're alive, not dead, nor not having ever been born.
You get one shot at this gig right here. Life. One life. That's all you've got. And regret, in and of itself, it's worthless. It does nothing for you. In fact, the only valuable thing in regret is the lesson you learned. The knowledge that you gained. But walking around filled with regret gets you nothing. Learn and move on. Don't let regret beat you down. Don't be a slave to regret. No. Let it teach you. Let it make you better. Let the fear of regret fuel you to take action today, now. To take action now to become a better person, not filled with regret.
There's a saying, when the devil ignores you, then you know you're doing something wrong. Wait a minute, I'm not done now. You know, the devil goes, oh no, leave him alone. Man, he's my favorite. Don't bother him.
Yeah.
Conversely, when the devil comes at you, maybe it's because you're trying to do something right.
All you had to do was work these last few years. You could be a millionaire, could retire. You could save your mother from being coarsened in the labor market. You could prolong the life of your loved ones with medical care. You could literally keep your parents alive longer, and you still didn't try.
There's two pains in life, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. He goes, discipline weighs ounces, regret weighs tons. Most things that are going to give you the greatest reward require discomfort initially.
If you think that the price of success is too high for you, wait till you get the bill for regret. Because the only thing in this world that's harder than the pain of hard work is the pain of regret later on. You're going to die one day. And when you look back on your life, what are you going to think about yourself? Are you going to be proud of what you did here? Or are you going to regret and wish that you would have done more or done something different?
Quasi, take it from an old spectator. Life's not a spectator sport. If watching is all you're gonna do, then you're gonna watch your life go by without you.
But as you're going through this minefield of choices, I want you to evaluate it: short-term pleasure, long-term pain. Pain of discipline or pain of regret. That will help you, at least inform you, to make the choice you know already you need to make.
There's no limits. Don't let the world ever put limits on you. You can do anything you want to do, but make sure if you have a vision, make sure the vision is written. You know, make sure you have something to actually chase and not just hoping and wishing. Put your plan together and then work the plan. Don't work somebody else's plan. You have to create your own brand yourself. And your brand is whatever you feel like doing, whatever your heart is passionate about, chasing.
The most important thing is this: to be able at any moment to sacrifice what you are for what you will become.
You need to have patience and you need to never give up. If you never give up and you remain patient, you can do anything you want. Anything. Focus on yourself. Time flies by. Every single day of your life, become better. In order for there to be light, there must always be darkness. Keep your head up.
All men are created equal. Some work harder in preseason. I'm going to say it again because you might have missed it. All men are created equal. Some work harder in preseason.
Know you want everything to happen right now. You may have been working for a very long time, and at this point you feel like you have earned the result. But you have to understand that things aren't going to happen at the speed at which you think they should happen. Things are going to happen at the speed that they are supposed to happen. The only thing you can control are the inputs, the work, the hours, the blood, sweat, and tears that you put into what you're trying to do. You don't get to control the outputs. Don't think of your goals as this is where I want to be in 6 months or this is where I want to be in a year. Instead, say, this is what I'm willing to do every single day until I get the result that I want. And I'm not willing to wait 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. I'm willing to wait as long as it takes.
Keep your head up, bro. There's always light at the end of the tunnel, bro. Keep going, man. Everyone goes through hard trials and tribulations. You gotta get back up. It doesn't matter how many times you fall down in this life. It just matters to get up again and again and again. Don't stop. Don't ever stop until you win.
If you just locked in and worked on yourself, your whole life could change. Now, am I gonna say you're gonna become a millionaire in the next 3 months? Bro, probably not. You'll probably even lose money. You'll probably fail more in these 3 months than you have in your entire life, because now you're actually going and trying these things. And in you doing that, you're gonna fail, you're gonna fall. And in that process of you falling and getting back up, that's where you're gonna learn, that's where you're gonna build the character, and that's what will eventually lead to you becoming the type of person in order to make everything succeed.
How you gonna knock somebody in the world for actually trying to do something? Trying. Since when has it become not cool to try?
Everybody's so afraid now they don't do shit. They're just paralyzed by it. They just don't do it. And that's bullshit. It's a dumb reason not to do what you want.
Most people don't take enough risk. Especially early in your career. Being young and unknown and poor, that is actually a great gift in terms of the amount of risk you can take. And I think people don't capitalize on that enough. I think what risk actually looks like is not doing something that you will then spend the rest of your life regretting.
Short-term pleasure equals long-term pain, and short-term pain equals long-term pleasure. Everything you're looking for is on the other side of short-term suffering, and everything you don't want is on the other side of avoiding that suffering. People become obese because they don't want to do the hard work of controlling their food intake and working out. Divorces happen because couples don't want to do the hard work of communicating and working through problems. People stay broke because they don't want to do the hard work of learning a high-value skill and then applying it to the market. If you continue to run from your unwanted short-term suffering, all that's going to lead to is long-term suffering. That's your choice. There's no other one. You can suffer now or you can suffer later. That's it.
In a world that's changing so quickly, the biggest risk you can take is not taking any risk. Whenever you get yourself into a position where you have to make some big shift in direction or do something, people are going to point to the downside risks of that decision. And locally, they're maybe right. For any given decision that you're going to make, there's upside and downside. But in aggregate, if you are stagnant and you don't make those changes, then I think you're guaranteed to fail and not catch up. So to some degree, over time, the biggest risk that you can take is to not take any risks.
20 years from now is probably going to come. And whether you're happy with that 20 years from now, or you're not happy with that 20 years from now, whatever that life is, it's going to be dictated by all the seeds that you plant right now.
You need to understand that you must be willing to suffer today to become something tomorrow, instead of having anything you want today and having to pay the bill tomorrow. And I promise you, that bill is very expensive. It comes with interest and it's very fat. So, as you watch this video, ask yourself, what type of life do I want? Do I want to instill these habits that are going to push me to the next level? Or am I just going to continue doing what I've always done? Just like Tony Robbins said, the pain of discipline, it only weighs a few ounces, but the pain that comes from regret weighs tons. It's a burden because you can't do anything about it, but you can control the discipline that you instill in your life.
I'm not sure anybody is taking enough risk from 20 to 30. It is the most interesting thing that I've been thinking about, which is it is never more practical to be disproportionately risky than from 22 to 30, yet everybody goes the other way because now they're in the real world and it's time to prove something to their parents, to themselves, to everybody else, and everybody goes conservative. It is a huge mistake. We need to flip it upside down. Everybody should go ham from 22 to 30 and do a ton of ridiculous shit and figure themselves out.
What else you gonna do? Quit? What else you gonna do, man? Go back and be a fat, sit around and do nothing, be nothing, contribute to nothing, become nothing, build nothing?
You don't start things and not finish them. You don't quit. There's nothing that comes out of quitting besides knowing that you didn't finish.
I don't have a choice. And you don't have a choice either. You think you do, but you don't.
The easiest thing in life is to give up on whatever you're focused on or whatever you're hopeful for. The hardest thing is to continue to keep going.
You can either go out and build your dreams, go through all the hard shit, get knocked down 1,000,000 times, get punched in the face 1,000,000 times, get told you're shit by everybody that you love and everybody that's around you, get made fun of, get laughed at, get picked on, become the joke, and continue to move forward, and then build your dreams and let your life speak for itself. That's your one choice. Or the other choice is you can quit.
We finish everything. You start it, finish it. If you're going to do it to try and be the best.
You really only have two choices. You do it now or you regret it later. It goes back to that age-old quote, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. And the pain of regret far outweighs that pain of discipline. And it's really not that difficult. You just have to do the hard things. You have to push past those things that offer you a little bit of resistance.
You can have what you want in 5 years. But there's two conditions. You have to know what it is and you have to aim at it. Figure out what you want. Write it down. Figure out what you could do to start moving towards that. Okay. Do that with your family relationships. Do that with your friendships. Do that with your career. Do that with your education. Develop a vision. And you have to do that in dialogue with yourself, right? It's like, if I could have what I wanted, what would satisfy me? And you might think, well, I could never get that. And I could say, well, maybe not, but I'll tell you one thing, man. You can move towards it. And I know almost all the pleasure is in the moving toward. If you set up a goal that you think is, just on the edge of conceivability, then every time you move even a tiny bit toward